So what we're here to talk about, myths of ASO, and the reason that I say that is that there's a lot of advice about App Store optimization online, but not all of it is all that good. And what happens is often people follow bad advice, they have bad results, and that's not good for anyone in the industry or ecosystem. So we want to break through some of these myths today. Really quick, first, a little bit about GummyCube if you don't know who we are. GummyCube is the oldest ASO company in North America. We started nearly a decade ago, which according to Wikipedia is a couple of years before Sensor Tower even existed. And we were working both on the technology and the agency side, helping build better technology for ASO and helping execute ASO better for partners. We're a global company, so our headquarters is in San Jose. We have offices in Tokyo and offices in Berlin globally. And then, of course, we have a great engineering team in Portland, and we've literally worked with thousands of apps. So we've seen optimizations and issues across every category, apps large and small. So in terms of who I am, I've been in mobile for nearly 20 years. My very first company when I was literally a child was a publisher of apps for Brew and J2ME feature phones when you had to get carriers to distribute on deck. We sold that company in 2005. I became a co-founder of Playphone, which was a direct-to-consumer distribution company for mobile content. Grew that to about $100 million of annual recurring revenue, and then I left in 2010 to start GummyCube with my co-founders because we thought organic was really a pretty big missing piece of the puzzle in mobile. Out of everything that I learned through those experiences, the number one thing I learned was that web and mobile are not the same. The user behavior on a mobile device is not the same as the web. The way the algorithms work in the stores are not the same as the web. And all too often you hear this referred to as like SEO for the web. But the reality is it's not really the same thing. So let me go back one. There we go. How did we get here? One of the big challenges with App Store optimization is that it's kind of a black box. Apple and Google don't give you any data about search volume for keywords, where your traffic is coming from. It's very hard to figure out what's going on in the stores. And because of that, it's very hard to figure out what tools are accurate and what data you're using. Of course, despite that, marketers really want data. You want to know what's going on with your app. You want to be data-driven in your decision-making. And so that's led to a lot of opportunistic situations where either tools were developed or consultants emerged, and they promoted what they knew best in terms of ASO strategies, in terms of what actually works in the app stores, which led to a lot of myths out there. Enter the tools. A lot of ASO tools out there, Toolman Taylor can tell you all about it, but really these tools have been designed in a lot of ways to satisfy marketers' desire for data and to present that data in a recognizable format that you might be familiar with the web, even though the App Store and Google Play don't work the same way that you'd optimize a PPC campaign online for AdWords. And so in a way, a lot of these tools disregard how the app stores actually work. They're trying to bring a concept from the web into mobile instead of developing something mobile from the ground up. That's led to a lot of problems. One, a lot of confusion about the similarities between SEO on the web and app store optimization. Two, discussions about do we focus on seed terms or long tail? Is it the same as the web where we're focused on 5 keywords? Or how much does the long tail matter? How frequently do we change our keywords? How do the algorithms crawl our apps? How do we evaluate difficulty? What keyword is going to be easy for us to rank for and give us the most advantage? Conversion is, of course, important, but a lot of people talk about conversion optimization and they only think about the app page, when in reality the user journey starts in a different place, at the search result in many cases. And then there's a big discussion about search ads data for ASO, which we'll get into. So first, the goals of ASO and SEO are the same, but the process and practice is not the same. App Store and Google Play are stores, but because the user behavior in those stores is different, and because the way people interact on their device is different than the web, search queries are very different. If you want to think about how the App Store algorithm and Google Play algorithm work, it's actually more like the Amazon search algorithm than it is the Google Web algorithm. People search for products and features and services, and Apple and Google merchandise you based on your click-through rate and users voting for your app being most relevant to those products and features and services. And of course, the long tail in mobile, it really, really matters. We conducted a study against hundreds of apps that have access to a brand new beta version of the Google Developer Console, which actually shows you some data about where your organic traffic is coming from. And we looked at apps both large and small. Mostly with this study, we're looking at apps that are in the top 20 of their categories. On average, what we found is that 40 to 50% of traffic came from your top 30 keywords. But 50% or more of your traffic came from the long tail and on keywords that you may not even be targeting directly in your metadata because of how Apple and Google merchandise you through the stores and the way that users search. So truly, if you're only laser focused on one or two keywords, you're missing the broader picture in terms of how Apple and Google index your app. Now, in terms of changing keywords, I had a discussion with a good friend who's living in Germany. They were meeting with some agencies in Barcelona, and one of the agencies told them, oh, we change our keywords for our clients really, really fast, sometimes once a week or once every 2 weeks. But the reality is, Apple and Google, they take some time to crawl your app when you change your metadata. And so this kind of tells me a couple things. One, these people had no idea what they were doing, or maybe they just use multiple tools to optimize, and they don't really know what data is correct, so they're just kind of changing things out very quickly. And maybe they just like packaging submissions for the App Store. I don't know. That's probably not. But the reality is throwing spaghetti at the wall isn't an ASO strategy. Simply experimenting randomly with keywords from different tools, that can hurt you more than it can help you. Apple and Google take 3 weeks to fully index your long tail. On average, for larger apps, it can take longer. And changing keywords faster might let you rank for new keywords over time, but it doesn't let you rank for more keywords over time. And successful apps in the App Store and Google Play, as we've detected with our technology, can rank for 2,000 keywords. There are no limits on the keywords that you can rank for, even though there are limits on the keywords you can target because of how Apple and Google merchandise you. So you want to be opportunistic about those changes. Next, this is one of my favorite topics, keyword difficulty. The reality is that no two apps in the store are the same. And your relevancy and click-through rates on each individual keyword are what determine your rankings for that keyword. Difficulty, how can difficulty be determined the same way for every app when every app is different? Every app will have different conversion factors, different creative, different features that are weak or strong. And that's going to influence your click-through rate. Brand also will influence your click-through rate. What we focus on is relevance. How relevant is your app to a keyword? Looking at what people intend to download when they search. Looking at a seed term and understanding what the related phrases are and how they might relate to features associated with your app. Because when you do that, you get an understanding of what consumers are looking for. When you get an understanding of what consumers are looking for, you end up targeting keywords that have a higher click-through rate. The concept, at least to us, of number of apps ranking for a keyword is almost offensive, because that is not an indicator of how difficult an app is to rank for a keyword. It's simply a way that every app can evaluate kind of a random statistic. We've worked with literally thousands of apps, and hundreds of them in many cases were competing with much larger brands. However, a better optimization and better conversion always got them better rankings than even the large brands. And so that's an important thing to keep in mind. Now, conversion optimization is really, really important. It's important for more than just optimizing your overall traffic on your app page. People need to start thinking of conversion optimization as something that starts at the very top of the funnel, meaning every keyword that you're targeting. When you change your creative and run A/B testing, you're impacting your click-through rates on each individual keyword. And when you do that, ultimately you're impacting your rankings on keywords. In fact, in the Apple App Store, which is different than Google Play, where you can actually download directly from a search result, as many as 80% of users in a given category will download from the search result and never visit your app page before they download, which means that landing page in the search result, those 3 screenshots, that app video, your title and your subtitle, that is what converts those users. And if you're not focused on conversion there, you're missing an entirely huge piece of the puzzle that's very important for your app. Finally, I want to address search ads and ASO. In the search ads console, as everyone knows here, Apple provides what they call popularity scores for keywords. Now, we have direct relationships with Apple and Google. We've been doing this for a long enough time where they talk to us regularly. And they don't advise using search ads data for App Store optimization. And the reason why is simple. If you think about search ads data, you could almost compare it to trading stocks in the stock market. There's day trading and there's holding long. When you're bidding on a keyword and you can change that bid on a regular basis as frequently as you want, that's more like day trading. And as such, the popularity score is based on short-term popularity, not medium to long-term trend. And so you might change your keywords using that data for a trend that exists that day or that week, but it's not going to be relevant for 30 or 45 days, which is the average time that people update their App Store optimization. The other issue that can emerge with search ads data is that a lot of that data that they present you in terms of popularity is based on the source query that you type in. It's popularity relative to the source query versus popularity relative to the store. So there are a lot of issues there when you're looking at search ads data. And also, if you're using a tool for ASO, why would you pay for data that you can get for free anyways? It's right there on Apple's console. So anyway, those are some myths of ASO that we frequently grapple with our clients and that we frequently see online and have to blog about every day because we see all these inaccuracies and things that just don't make sense to us. But if you really only take one thing away from this presentation, don't think of ASO as SEO for apps. The goal is similar, but web and mobile are dramatically different. Apple and the App Store, Google and the Google Play Store function more like Amazon than they do the web in terms of how their back-end technology is built. And that's how you have to think of merchandising throughout the stores. Also, learning how to use a tool is not the same thing as studying the App Store and Google Play. A lot of people rely on agencies and third parties to optimize. A lot of people will read blogs to try to do it themselves. And you have to be careful. You always have to ask, where is your source? Are you just getting information about how to do this from a tool, which is trying to educate people about how to use the tool, or are you getting it from people that break the App Store and Play Store every day trying to figure out how they work? That's a really important point. So focus on how the stores behave, not necessarily how tools work. Thanks.